Kipindi kinachokujia kutoka hapa Morning Star Television, runinga inayobadili maisha yako. Ni mimi mtangazaji wako mchungaji Jonas Singo. Mgeni wetu leo ni mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka kutoka kanisa la Adventist wa Sabato Manzese. Karibu sana mwinjilisti Mpeka.
Asante sana mchungaji Singo na mtangazaji wetu wa kipindi cha katika mapito yake. Nashukuru kuwa pamoja na wewe.
Natumaini umefurahi sana kuwa katika kipindi hiki na katika kituo hiki, runinga inayobadilisha maisha.
Nimebarikiwa sana pastor.
Katika kipindi chetu cha leo, katika mapito yake, katika mapito ya neno la Mungu, mapito ya Yesu Kristo, tunaangalia shetani na anguko lake. Shetani na anguko lake. Shetani na anguko lake. Hilo ndio mada yetu ya leo. Kabla hatujaendelea sana na mjadala wetu wa leo, tukaribishe Roho wa Bwana awe pamoja nasi. Tunakushukuru Mungu kwa kuwa pamoja nasi katika kipindi hiki, katika mapito yake, kipindi cha neno lako, kipindi kinachoangazia mambo makubwa ya neno lako. Tunakusia kwamba mioyo iliyojawa na giza ikapate kumulikwa na neno lako. Ukambariki sana mwinjilisti Mpeka ambaye tutakuwa naye katika kipindi hiki chote, kwa utukufu wa Kristo Yesu Bwana wetu. Amen.
Amen.
Mwinjilisti Mpeka, wenda nianzie hapa. Watu wanasema shetani. Shetani ni nani?
Asante sana pastor. Ni swali ambalo watu wengi wanajadili sana na wana swali kubwa sana hili. Hata siku moja nilikuwa na semina mahali fulani, kauliza watu waseme shetani ni nani? Mama mmoja akanyoosha mkono kwa ujasiri kabisa, akasema shetani ni mume wangu.
Shetani ni mume wangu. Ikali kweli kweli. Kumbe mume anaweza kuwa shetani.
Yaani baadaye tulipokuja kumuuliza, wanasema kwa yale anayonifanyia kwa kweli nimegundua yeye sio mtu. Kwa hiyo tunadhani kwamba pengine shetani yuko katika picha fulani hivi au yuko katika picha fulani, lakini naamini leo katika mapito yake tunaweza kupata jibu sahihi.
Amen. Umenifurahisha sana. Eti shetani ni mume wangu. Wenda jamaa mwingine angeulizwa angesema shetani ni mke wangu. Kwa yale matendo, unajua kuna mambo Mpeka yanapita kwenye nyumba za watu. Sasa ukasema huyu kweli shetani. Sasa umezungumza baada ya kwamba shetani, umesema jambo la msingi sana. Lakini nataka uniambie shetani ametokea wapi? Katika mapito ya neno la Mungu, shetani ametokea wapi?
Biblia inasema, kwanza jambo la kwanza tutambue Mungu hakumuumba shetani. Lakini Biblia ama katika mapito yake inatuonyesha shetani yeye alikuwa ni malaika tu mzuri, tena kerubi afunikaye. Katika mapito yake Ezekiel 28 fungu la 14 ukisoma unaweza ukaona namna ambavyo Biblia inavyomueleza ya kwamba alikuwa yeye ni malaika mzuri wa nuru, lakini baadaye kaanza kuonekana uovu ndani yake. Kwa hiyo tunaposema alitoka wapi? Alitoka mbinguni.
Alitoka mbinguni.
Ndio.
Hapa katika kiti cha enzi.
Hapo.
Shetani anatokea hapo.
Anatokea hapo.
Ni jambo zito kidogo. Inakuwaje humo patakatifu alafu atokee shetani muovu?
Biblia inaeleza vizuri katika kitabu cha Isaya 14 fungu la 11. Pengine pastor tuangalie katika mapito yake. Maana kipindi hiki ni katika mapito yake. Kwa hiyo lazima tupite tuulize humu ndani ya mapito. Katika mapito yake ni nini kinachojiri ama kinachoeleza na kututhibitishia. Katika kitabu kile cha Isaya 14 fungu la 12 sema, jinsi ulivyoanguka kutoka mbinguni ewe nyota ya alfajiri, mwana wa asubuhi, jinsi ulivyokatwa kabisa ewe uliyewaangusha mataifa. Kwa hiyo tunaona ya kwamba yeye aliangushwa kutoka mbinguni. Lakini pia ukisoma katika kitabu cha Ufunuo 14 anaeleza vizuri katika kitabu cha Ufunuo hiki, na chenyewe kinamuelezea huyu shetani ni nani ama ni kitu gani ambacho yeye alikuwa amefanya. Ufunuo 12 na fungu la 7, kulikuwa na vita mbinguni, Mikaeli na malaika zake wakapigana naye, yule joka naye akapigana nao pamoja na malaika zake, nao hawakushinda, wala mahali pao hapakuonekana tena mbinguni. Yule joka akatupwa, yule mkubwa nyoka wa zamani aitwaye Ibilisi na Shetani, audanganyaye ulimwengu wote, wakatupwa katika nchi na malaika zake wakatupwa pamoja naye.
Kwa hiyo hawa wametokea humo
ndani na vita vilipoanza, na kikubwa ni wivu ule wa kuona ya kwamba yeye anahitaji madaraka.
Kwa hiyo moja ya sababu ni wivu.
Ndio.
Kwa hiyo kumbe hata wanadamu wanapooneana wivu, kunazuka kitu cha shetani ndani yake.
Ni kabisa pastor.
Sasa wivu gani alikuwa nao?
Alikuwa anataka madaraka. Maana alisema atainua kiti chake mpaka juu kupita viimo. Yaani aitaka kuchukua cheo cha Mungu, aonekane yeye kama Mungu.
Sasa hiyo mbona kazi? Yaani na huwezi kuchukua cheo cha Mungu wakati bado yupo. Kwa lazima umuondoe.
Lazima kwanza umuondoe.
Alafu ndio uketi.
Ndio.
Sasa shetani katika kuchukua huku je, alipata wafuasi?
Ndio maana Biblia inasema ya kwamba akatupwa yeye pamoja na malaika zake. Yaani wale waliosema huenda wazo lake huyu ni kweli, huenda tukikaa kwake pengine huyu anaweza kuanzisha mamlaka nzuri zaidi. Na unajua Mungu yeye ni sio dikteta. Mungu yeye ni mtu wa kuona maamuzi ya mtu. Ni wa upendo. Kwa hiyo hao wengine waliposema kwamba tunakaa upande wa huyu Lucifer, basi habari yake ndio Biblia inasema wakatupwa mpaka hapa nchi.
Kwa hiyo kuna shetani huyo mkubwa wao.
Ndio.
Na hivi shetani vidogo
ambao waliandamana na kuchukua mamlaka kwa upande wake. Ndio.
Na hii vita inaonekana ilikuwa ni vita kubwa hii. Na wakatupwa. Na unafikiri kwamba yako madai mengine hasa yalikuwa ndani ya hitaji la huyu Lucifer dhidi tu ya kuangalia kwamba anataka cheo cha Mungu? Je, kuna kingine ambacho huenda alimshtaki Mungu kwamba anacho, labda hana upendo, hana uhuru na vitu kama hivyo?
Alihitaji asujudiwe.
Ibada.
Na hilo ndio pambano kubwa lililopo, ya kwamba kwa sababu shetani aliona malaika wanaanguka mbele za Mungu, wanamsujudia Mungu
mtakatifu.
Akasema kwa nini hii isiwe kwangu? Alafu ikawa kwake tu. Na vivyo hivyo hata baada ya kutupwa huku chini huku, bado tatizo kubwa liko hapo kwenye ibada. Bado naye anatafuta kusujudiwa. Na ndio maana unaweza kuona hata Yesu anapokuja hapa katika kitabu kile cha Biblia, katika mapito yake anaeleza, na yeye bado akamwambia unisujudie nikupe vyote.
Nitakupa zote
kama utanisujudia. Kwa hiyo tunaona tatizo lingine pamoja na wivu, alihitaji yeye afanyiwe ibada.
Ambalo ni changamoto kubwa sana katika ulimwengu wa leo, kwamba shetani anahitaji ibada.
Ni kubwa sana.
Ile aliyohitaji mbinguni
ni kubwa sana.
Akahitaji kutoka kwa Yesu.
Ndio.
Na amehitaji kutoka kwa Yesu. Unataka kuniambia kwamba hata sasa hivi anaidai hiyo kutoka kwa wanadamu?
Bado anahitaji sana. Maana Biblia ukumbuke katika mapito yake katika kitabu cha Yohana 8:44 anaeleza vizuri ya kwamba ninyi ni wa baba yenu Ibilisi na tamaa za baba yenu Ibilisi ndizo mpendazo kuzitenda. Yeye ni muuaji tangu mwanzo, yeye ni muongo tangu mwanzo, na wala hawezi kusema kweli, japokuwa umuone kana kwamba anataka kusema ukweli, lakini ndani yake ana uongo.
Ni baba
wa
uongo
kabisa.
Na huyo ndo anasema ninyi ni wa baba yenu Ibilisi. Bwana, lakini mimi si muummo, mimi baba yangu sio Ibilisi. Mimi bwana mpeka, mimi baba yangu ni wa mbinguni.
Pastor, pengine niseme kuna kwa sababu walichokuwa natafuta ni mamlaka na kusujudiwa. Kwa hiyo lazima katika ulimwengu huu kuna wawili tu wanaotuendesha. Aiza uwe wa baba wa mbinguni, aiza uwe mtoto wa Ibilisi. Hakuna namna.
Kambi mbili peke yake.
Basi.
Na hauwezi kukanyaga huko wala hauwezi kukanyaga huko.
Hakuna, lazima ukae upande mmoja.
Kwa watu wote unaowaona ni either wawe upande wa baba wa mbinguni
kabisa,
ama upande unasemaje hii katika kutaka ibada, kwa sababu kuna watu siku hizi wanatoa kafara. Unasikia watu wametoa kafara viungo vya albino, watu wanakata viungo vya albino. Hiyo ni ibada hiyo. Unahusianaje na huyu shetani?
Biblia hapa inasema katika mapito yake kwamba yeye ni muuaji. Na kwa sababu yeye ni muuaji siku zote, hata kama uone shetani akuonyeshe mambo mazuri kiasi gani, hata kama uone anakukumbatia, lakini mwisho yote anataka kukuua.
Hiyo ndio hasa
maana yeye ni baba wa uuaji na ni baba wa uongo. Kwa hiyo hakuna saa pengine tuone hizo kafara ama hivyo vitu tunavyovifanya kwamba vinaweza vikatufanyia utukufu kwa Mungu.
Unasemaje unajua hawa matajiri wanaotembea kwa waganga wao wameambiwa watembee hawavai viatu. Hawavai viatu, hawalali kitandani, wanalala chini uvunguni. Wengine wamefanya watoto wa matahira. Hizi habari nafikiri wewe uko hapa Dar es Salaam unazifahamu, unazisikia hizi.
Ndio pastor.
Unaosemaje kwa sababu nikana kwamba shetani ameambia wafanye kitu fulani ili wapewe kitu fulani.
Unajua Biblia inasema yeye ni baba wa uongo. Kwa hiyo hata hivyo vitu anavyovifanya, yani hata kama uone kwamba anakunufaisha ama anakuboreshea lakini yeye ni muongo. Maana Biblia inasema dunia na vyote vilivyomo ni mali ya Bwana. Kwa hiyo shetani hana chochote. Hivyo ni vimbwembwe tu.
Yeye ni mpambe tu.
Lakini hana chochote.
Hana kitu. Vyote ni vya baba yetu wa mbinguni.
Kabisa.
Kwa hiyo ni kutumia kanuni zile za msingi za kufanya kazi kwa bidii na kufanya hivi na hivi, utakuwa umepata,
utafaulu sana.
Utafaulu. Na Biblia inayosema mali inayokuja kwa haraka
inaleta maumivu makali. Lakini achumaye kidogo inadumu.
Sasa watu watataka mali, na hasa vijana wa sasa.
Ndio.
Wataenda kwa waganga, watafanya mambo haya na yale. Hiyo sasa ndio ile ibada ambayo shetani naona anahitaji. Ili watu wapate, nipe kile alichomwambia Yesu, nisujudie na ulimwengu wote huu nitakupatia. Kwa hiyo unataka kumwambia mpendwa msikilizaji nini? Kwamba anayepaswa kuabudiwa ni nani kati ya hawa wawili? Hasa nani anapaswa kupewa ibada ya kweli?
Ibada ya kweli unapaswa kumpa Mungu tu. Kwa sababu Mungu anabaki kuwa mkweli na shetani anabaki kuwa muongo. Maana hata ukiona wakati anakuja kumdanganya Hawa, anamwambia ukila tu matunda haya hautakufa. Lakini Mungu alimwambia hakika utakufa. Kwa hiyo tunaona shetani yeye amebaki kuwa muongo. Maana leo hii kuna viwanja vya makaburi. Lakini Mungu alisema kama hamtakula hamtakufa. Lakini yeye alisema mkila pia hamtakufa. Kwa hiyo tunaanza kuona hapa uongo na ukweli ukiwa uko dhahiri. Na Mungu amebaki kuwa mkweli, maana baada ya kula wengi wanakufa leo.
Asante sana Mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka, ambao umetuchukua katika maswali haya ya shetani ni nani, ametoka wapi, chanzo chake cha kuanguka ni nini. Tuende mapumziko mafupi, na baada ya hapo tutarejea tena tukiwa na Mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka kuelezea mambo ya kina kuhusiana na shetani na kazi zake. Asante sana Mwinjilisti Mpeka. Tuende mapumziko, alafu baada ya mapumziko tutarudi tena sehemu ya pili katika mapito yake. Mungu na akubariki sana. Karibu katika sehemu ya pili ya katika mapito yake. Kama ndio unajiunga nasi, tuko na mgeni wetu Mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka, tukiangalia kwa kina mambo yanayohusiana na anguko la shetani. Shetani ametoka wapi? Kitu gani kilimwangusha? Na nini hasa anafanya? Mwinjilisti Mpeka, umezungumza mambo mazito kuhusiana na kuanguka kwa shetani. Sasa kilichomfanya shetani alipoanguka, wapi alikwenda?
Biblia inasema akatupwa hata nchi. Katika mapito yake leo inatuonyesha kwamba alitupwa hapa katika sayari hii dunia. Na kituo chake cha kwanza ni katika bustani ya Eden. Na ndipo tunapoona hapa amemdanganya bibi yetu na mama yetu Hawa.
Inaonekana huyo shetani ni muongo. Mbinguni anadanganya wale malaika wengine. Danganya. Kuna siri gani katika uongo wa shetani?
Shetani yeye siri yake kubwa anaigiza kana kwamba ni ukweli, lakini mwisho wa yote hakuna ukweli ndani yake. Kwa hiyo unaweza ukaona kama anasema kitu kinachofanana na ukweli, ama anaigiza kitu kinachoonekana kama ni ukweli, lakini ndani yake humu kuna hila kubwa sana.
Kwa hiyo inakuwa hama Waswahili hii methali ya Kiswahili inayosema si vyote ving'aavyo ni dhahabu.
Ni kweli kabisa.
Vingine ni chupa.
Ni kweli.
Sasa kuna kitu hiki, watu wengi wakiambiwa wamchore shetani, watamchora, wengine ana jicho moja, mwingine ana mapembe, mwingine ana masikio kama ungo. Yani watamchora shetani mbaya. Unaelewezaje kueleza sura ya shetani? Kwa namna unaweza kueleza sura hivi? Kweli ndivyo watu wanavyofikiri shetani alivyo?
Hizo ni picha tu za wasanii.
Picha za wasanii.
Lakini kiukweli shetani angekuja katika umbo kama hilo tunalocholewa tungemwogopa sana. Lakini huwa anakuja katika umbo la namna tofauti. Unaona katika bustani ya Edeni alikuja tu katika umbo la nyoka. Kwa hiyo vivyo hivyo hata leo anakuja katika umbo la namna sio ya kutisha sana. Naamini hata wewe Pastor Singo angekuwa anakuja na jicho moja, tungemkimbia kabisa.
Hapa Dar es Salaam watu
wangekimbia kabisa. Kwa hiyo haya maumbo ni vitisho tu vya wasanii, lakini yeye mwenyewe hayupo katika umbo kama hilo.
Biblia inasema anakuja kama malaika wa nuru
kabisa.
Malaika wa nuru. Kwa hiyo tusitegemee ni mbaya.
Katika umbo hana ubaya, lakini katika matendo
anang'aa, anavutia
kabisa.
Kwa sababu Biblia inasema katika kitabu cha Mwanzo kwamba pale Hawa alipoona lile tunda la faa kwa chakula,
ndio
tena lapendeza
kwa macho.
Kwa hiyo kumbe sio vyote vinavyong'aa unaweza ukazadi kwamba vya Mungu, kumbe vya shetani amevifanya ving'aa.
Ni kabisa.
Na unawezaje kueleza huu udanganyifu wake? Kwa sababu kuna madanganyo mengi pia leo. Yako madanganyo mengi. Unawezaje kusema kuhusiana na madanganyo ya shetani dhidi ya kifo? Kwa sababu anasema hakika hamtakufa. Amedanganya nini tena hapa? Kuna udanganyo nyifu fulani. Kuna madanganyo, kuna orodha ya madanganyo ya shetani.
Pastor, asante sana. Kati ya madanganyo ni kuanza kutuonyesha kwamba tuishi tu maisha hivi tu, hata pasipo kumcha Mungu. Wanasema ponda mali kufa kunakuja, ponda la, yani nipe la mwenyewe wakati huu.
Siku hizi vijana wana neno wanaita kula bata.
Kwa hiyo uishi tu maisha ya ajabu na alafu hata ukifa hamna shida yoyote. Na hii inaonekana kama kutufariji, lakini ni uongo wa shetani.
Uongo wa shetani.
Hakuna ukweli ndani yake. Lazima tuishi kwa kumwabudu Mungu, kwa kufanya yale Mungu anayetuagiza, alafu ndio tunaweza kuwa washindi.
Habari gani ya ndoa moja? Je, kuna udanganyifu gani hapa? Ndoa ya jinsia hii moja, sababu inapigiwa kelele sana. Hata hapa kwetu imeshaanza kuwa na kelele nyingi sana.
Pastor, pengine tuseme tu, ndio maana tumesoma katika ile Yohana 8 fungu la 44 ya kwamba yeye ni muongo. Naye anasema tu kwamba kwa kweli iwepo ndoa tu. Yaani kwa sababu tu amesema ndoa, kwa hiyo hata ya jinsia moja yote inaitwa ni ndoa. Lakini kwa kweli kwa mujibu wa katika mapito yake, hilo ni la kishetani. Na Biblia haituelekezi hivyo. Hakuna ndoa ya mtu wa jinsia ya watu wa jinsia moja. Inapaswa iwepo ndoa ya watu wa jinsia tofauti. Kwa hiyo kama ni uongo, basi nao wanaotaka kufanya hivyo ama wanaofanya hivyo wanakuwa ni watoto wa Ibilisi. Wamedanganywa na Ibilisi. Wamedanganyika.
Habari gani ya miujiza?
Na yenyewe hii nayo ni tatizo linalochukua katika sayari dunia. Shetani na yeye anasema, Biblia ama katika mapito yake inasema anaweza kugeuza. Na sio tu kwamba ameanza leo. Unakumbuka Pastor, hata Musa anapokwenda kwa Farao, Musa wakati anafanya muujiza, nao wakaigiza na wakafanya muujiza. Wale wachawi wa pale Misri waliokuwa wanalipwa na Farao kwa ajili ya kumlinda, anaweka fimbo chini na kuwa nyoka, naona fanya hivi natoka nyoka, lakini walishindwa ya chawa. Vumbi kugeuza kuwa chawa. Kwa hiyo kuna saa hata kama wataigiza, shetani ataigiza, kuna saa mingine haiwezekaniki.
Sasa hawa wachawi wanahusianaje na huyu shetani? Sasa utasikia mtu anasema nina jini wangu, sina mashetani. Na wewe mwinjilisti, umekuwa ukihubiri, umekutana na haya mambo, mtu ana mapepo, Yesu alikutana na, unaweza kuja kusema?
Pengine tuseme Pastor, hiyo nayo ndio sasa kazi ya ufalme wake. Ufalme wa shetani. Anawapandikizia watu. Unajua kwa sababu sasa uwanja wa vita ni katika huu mwili wa mwanadamu. Kwa hiyo Mungu anamtaka huyu mwanadamu, shetani anamtaka huyu mwanadamu. Na kitu kikubwa anachotafuta ni ibada. Sasa lazima wakati mwingine shetani naye aweke ufalme wake ili uwe wa upande wa ufalme wake. Lakini kwa kweli pengine tuseme tu kwamba Mungu analeta ushindi mkubwa zidi ya nguvu za shetani.
Amen.
Mungu analeta ushindi mkubwa zidi ya nguvu za shetani. Kwa hiyo shetani hata kama aonekane kutuletea vurugu kiasi gani, lakini Mungu ni mshindi mara zote.
Amen. Sasa kama wanadamu, kwa sababu shetani tunakutana naye mara kwa mara, tunapoamka asubuhi kwenda kazini tunakutana naye mara kwa mara, tunawezaje kumpinga na kukaa mbali na shetani? Kwa sababu mwingine unakuta mtu kafumaniwa, kaacha mkewe, kafumaniwa, alafu anasema huyu bwana alikuwa shetani tukanipitia. Shetani. Mwingine katoa rushwa, mwingine kaiba, mwingine kibaka. Shetani anasema tu shetani. Tunawezaje kumpinga shetani, ama tunawezaje kusema hapana, ama tunawezaje kukaa mbali na shetani?
Pengine pastor niseme kwamba anasema kwa ajili ya hayo hayo ya shetani hayo na kuanguka huku na malaika zake, mwana wa Mungu alizihirishwa ili azivunje kazi za shetani. Kwa hiyo hizo kazi zote za kufumaniwa, za kula rushwa, za kuiba, za kuchukua mke wa mtu, hizo zote zinavunjwa kwa nguvu ya mwana wa Mungu. Kwa hiyo anapozihirishwa huyu katika maisha yetu, kazi za shetani zote zinavunjika. Na kila asubuhi pastor tukumbuke, fafanuzi za maandiko matakatifu zinasema kwamba shetani anatutegea mitego. Kwa hiyo kila asubuhi namna ya kutoka kwenye hiyo mitego ya shetani, huku maofisini, kwenye barabara huko tunapopita, asubuhi tuanze kuomba hizi nguvu za huyu mwana wa Mungu aliyezihirishwa ili kuzivunja kazi za shetani.
Asante sana, umesema jambo la maana sana. Mpeka kwa dakika moja, unawezaje kumwambia mtazamaji wetu wa Morning Star Television, runinga inayobadilisha maisha, kuhusiana na namna ambavyo anaweza kuishi maisha matakatifu kwa dakika moja, na kumtia moyo dhidi ya majanga ya shetani ambayo yanatuzunguka?
Mimi namtia moyo tu kwamba kila asubuhi anaporudi nyumbani akubali kujisalimisha mikononi mwa mwana wa Mungu. Yeye atampatia ushindi mkubwa sana.
Huyu mshindi wa washindi, Yesu Kristo. Tunapojisalimisha kwake, inawezekana kupata ushindi.
Amen. Maana anasema aliye ndani yetu ni mkuu kuliko aliye katika ulimwengu huu.
Hallelujah.
Kwa hiyo ukimkaribisha yuko ndani yako, utapata faraja.
Amen. Mpendwa mtazamaji, tumekuwa na mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka tukiangalia habari ya ibilisi kuanguka kwake, namna anavyoweka mitego kwa wanadamu. Nataka kukuambia ni kusudi la shetani kuteka watu kutoka kumwamini Mungu. Ni kazi yake tangu pale Adamu na Hawa katika bustani ya Eden, alipoteka malaika kule mbinguni akawadanganya, akaja akawadanganya wazazi wetu wa kwanza. Hata leo bado anadanganya watu. Anadanganya wengine akiwaambia viungo vya albino vitawapa utajiri. Anadanganya wengine ya kwamba viungo vya albino vitawapa vyeo vya kisiasa. Anadanganya wengine akiwaambia ya kwamba wakifanya hivi watapata vile. Uongo ni muongo, ni baba wa huo. Alikwenda hata kumdanganya Yesu Kristo, lakini Yesu alisema imeandikwa. Unajua shetani naye ni msomi wa maandiko. Ni hadi utakapojisalimisha, kama mwinjilisti Josephat Mpeka alivyosema, utakapojisalimisha moyo wako, utakaposalimisha maisha yako kwa Yesu Kristo, kamanda wa vita, aliyemshinda ibilisi pale mbinguni, akamshinda ibilisi katika msalaba wa Kalvari. Huyu Yesu Kristo mshindi anapokaa ndani ya moyo wako, anakupa uhakika wa kumshinda shetani. Rafiki mpendwa, katika ulimwengu uliojaa majaribu, katika ulimwengu uliojaa mambo, katika ulimwengu uliojaa mitego ya shetani kila namna, ni Yesu Kristo tu peke yake anayeweza kutushindia. Mtume Paulo akisema katika kitabu kile cha Warumi sura ya 8, akasema ya kwamba Mungu akiwa upande wetu, hakuna aliye kinyume chetu. Yesu akiwa upande wako, akiwa ndani yako, nuru ya Yesu inaangaza. Siku zote ninakuwa nikisema hakuna swichi ya giza, bali iko swichi ya taa. Unapomkaribisha Yesu, giza linaondoka. Yesu akiingia moyoni, shetani atakimbia. Wewe mkaribishe Yesu aliye nuru ya uzima, akikaa ndani yako. Nataka kukwambia rafiki, giza la shetani, giza la ibilisi linatoweka. Mkaribishe Yesu moyoni mwako. Kwa nini ombi hili? fupi lisiwe baraka kwako na familia yako ya kumkaribisha Yesu. Baba, katika jina la Yesu tunakushukuru kwa ukombozi uliouleta. Mwinjilisti Mpeka ameeleza kwa mapana kuhusiana na kuanguka kwa ibilisi, lakini tu si kuanguka, ameeleza namna tunavyokombolewa pia, ya kwamba tunapokukaribisha unaangaza nuru maishani mwetu. Angaza nuru kwa yule mama, angaza nuru kwa yule baba, angaza nuru kwa yule kijana, na unapoangaza shetani atakimbia, shetani ataenda mbali. Bwana, tuangazie maishani kwa utukufu wako, katika jina la Kristo Yesu Bwana wetu, amen.
Amen.
Unaangalia idhaa ya Hope Channel Africa.
For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thought of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts.
Hello, I'm Derek Morris, President of Hope Channel. Every day we hear from people whose lives have been changed by Jesus, the loving Savior and friend they met right here on the Hope Channel. If this has been your experience, I would love to hear from you. Tell me your Hope Channel story, and may you be inspired and blessed as you continue your walk with Jesus. Thank you for watching and supporting Hope Channel.
Hello and welcome to Women Engage. Thank you so much for joining us on our program today. We've got a really important topic to talk about today. We're going to be talking about dealing with loss. If you wish to engage with us, join us on our Facebook page, Look for Women Engage. You can be able to share your own stories, your own experiences with one another and engage with our topic. But right now, I just want us to introduce our panelists for today. I'll just ask you to tell us your name and where you come from. So I will begin. My name is Jocelyn Isabirie. I come from Uganda.
And I'm Rispa Awor. I come from Kenya.
I'm Rose Misati from Kenya as well.
I'm Debbie Maloba from Democratic Republic of Congo.
Welcome, ladies. So today we're talking about dealing with loss. So at some point, everyone loses someone that they love. This is one of the very sad realities of life. It's one of the most difficult life events imaginable, and yet it's something that we can't avoid it. And so that's why we're talking about it today. So if it's something that happens all the time to all of us at some point, why do we need to talk about it?
Because death is always fresh. It is never something that we get in terms with. When somebody dies, even when you know that they were going to die, the moment that person really dies, you get a different feeling. It is like you never expected that person to die. It's always very, very fresh.
It's very devastating indeed, and it changes somebody. You don't remain the same again. As she has said, you can never get used to it. Neither can you predict how you're going to respond to the loss of a loved one. The Bible says death is the last enemy to be defeated. So it's something that it's a reality for all of us, and yet we can never get used to it.
You will try even to forget, but you will never forget. You will try even to accommodate, but you will never. Yes, for sometimes you will forget, but then it will come in such a way that you will not control yourself. So we need to talk about it. And when you talk about it, sometimes it helps you. It heals you. Yes.
So what are some of the challenges that we face when we lose a loved one? How does it affect us? What are some of the things that you think we have to deal with?
I don't think the death affects people the same way. Because I think it depends on who has died. And it's also, to me, I would say, it also depends on how you have lived while that person was alive. Yes. Because if I have lost my husband, I've also lost an uncle. Two people who have been in my life very keenly. I mean, very closely. So let me start with an example of losing my uncle. I lost my uncle at a point when I was going to finish 12th grade. And my uncle was a pillar in my life. I loved my dad, but my uncle was another person who was very, very close. And he monitored my movement from school to school, even took me to a boarding school where I excelled to go to high school, breaking a barrier from the village where none of the people before me had gone to high school. So my uncle was like a mentor, somebody that I really loved very much and respected. When he died, it was an accident. I couldn't even find a dress to wear at night when we heard of his death. And that affected me for a very long time. I lived the life I lived with him. It was like it was recurring, always dreaming about my uncle. So that was my uncle. I never dreamt about my husband when my husband died. But I knew that I lived well and we did the best we could do together. And he was sick for a while, and I knew that he was going to die, but when he actually died, it was like that was a new experience. Yeah. And after his death, I thought I had come to terms with it because I wanted to just go and give him a good burial and let the children know that the dad is resting. But when I went back to the workplace, I wore a dress that had a zipper, and I wanted to zip it up. I was going to church. I couldn't zip it up. usually I would just turn my back and ask him to zip it up. Simple things. And this day there was nobody to zip it up for me. That was enough to make me recall that I've lost somebody. Dealing with loss is not an easy thing, but it is manageable. And I think the manageability of it depends on how you have lived together when the other person was alive.
I think that was a very important point, because as you were saying that, Rispa, I was thinking about sometimes it's the regrets. Because as you've lost this person who was dear in your life, and you realize, I wish I had done this with them. I wish I had not done this to them. I wish, and that can affect you. But if you have no regrets over the life that you've lived with them, I think it can make it easier to, not that you're happy that they're gone, but of course, you know, you have no regrets over the time that you lived together. And I think I had never thought of it that way. I think that's a very profound thing.
I knew his dreams, and you know, we used to, building was his hobby. He used to build. And so I was a partner in building. When he died, I built the school that he left a drawing for. So I'm living, it is like he's still living, but sometimes those things come back. You know, you were saying, it comes back like if he was here, this one, I would have known how to make a decision here. This is something I would have asked, but he's not there for me to ask him. So I have to remember that I have to make the final decision and make it alone. But so such kind of moments are there, but they are not sad moments. It doesn't come with the weight of the sadness. It comes with, okay, I have a purpose for doing these things, because we had a purpose in life, and there are things that we wanted to do. They still go on for as long as I still have life. I have a purpose. And the thing that I was asking my father-in-law, like, if your son dies, I would marry somebody from all over, anywhere else. That's not the thing that became real when he died. I'm not thinking in that way. I'm thinking I have a home, and this home needs to be maintained. I have my home and my late husband, so we have a home to maintain. And like I said before, I am lucky to have been left at a point when I was mature enough and not thinking of just marrying for the sake of getting married. Because I can make myself, I can live, I can manage, and I can keep myself busy. I tell you, it all depends on, to me, it depends on how you have lived in the past when that person was alive.
And you know, I like, Rispa, what you're bringing out, that everybody's experience is different based on how you have lived. I lost my father when I was 3 years, maybe, or even younger. I don't remember anything. So for me, it's the pain of not having a male figure to look up to when I reached teenage. And then I realized that even as I was getting into relationships, most of them were with older men, because I was looking for a father as much as I was looking for love. I'm glad that I discovered, through reading and interacting, I discovered, and when I married my husband, he's, I think, the only young man my age I had dated. So I'm glad, because I see my friends, I see my colleagues getting into relationships and even marrying older men because they're looking for a father. And it doesn't work, at least it can't work for so long, because the expectations are not met. But when I lost my sister, who was 13 years, it's the regret that plagued me for so long, because I was the elder sister, maybe about 3 years older, and you know, there's a way in which you want them to maintain order, to do this and do that, and so I would spank them. And so when she died, I was a teenager, and I regretted. You know, I said, the times I used to spank her, why did I do that? But then I recovered. So the experience was very different with each of them. Yeah.
And I think that goes back again to, it's the regret of how you lived when your sister was still there. And maybe I can add another. You've talked about the way that we deal with grief differently depending on our personality. We also deal with grief differently depending on the person who has died. and then we deal with grief differently depending on how we lived with them before they died. I think maybe I can also add, I think also it also depends on how they died. I think there are some forms of death that you feel, you know, okay, this one, yes, but this one, I remember one time, and I think about it a lot, and yet I read about this. It happened many years ago. I read about it in the newspaper. This woman was reversing her car, and she heard something thud, you know, and she thought, what's that? So she went forward, and she heard the thud again. So she went over something, and then she went forward again, and then she got out of her car. It was her young son who had been hiding behind the car. And you know, every time I thought of that mother, it's been years since I read that story.
It's painful.
I feel her pain. I pray for that woman. I don't remember her name. I don't remember. I pray for that woman. I just imagine how do you know, I think there are some deaths that you say, okay, and then there are other deaths that you just... So we've said, you know, we deal with death differently. We really, really do. But just continuing on with that theme of the challenges, what are some of the things that make it difficult sometimes to overcome this grief that comes?
Sometimes somebody dies, you feel the pain, but it is not deep, not that deep. Now for us, we didn't accept it. My brother was, he just came from his office, and he was sharing with his wife, his children. And it was in the evening, and now one of his best friend called him. I'm coming to pick you because I need a document at the office. He was fired, that friend of his. But my brother was promoted. You see now the challenge. So my brother knew him. But you know, with friends, sometimes you just let it go. He said, no, I know you. His name was Claude. What are you coming to do? I can give it to you tomorrow. He said, no. He insisted. When they were discussing, he was just beside his door. He came, he received him, he said, let's go, and I need that document. He said, okay. But now the wife, now we have discovered that the wife knew. The wife said, no, I know you. Is it really that you want that document? He said, yes, I need the document. He said, because I don't have anybody here at home to stay with children, I would wish to come with you. That is the wife. So my brother decided. He said, okay, let's go. They went, and my brother never came back. So when they went, he hit him.
He killed him.
He hit him here. Now, I don't know what happened. So he bled in the brain. He didn't bring him to the hospital. He managed to bring him to a center, just a health center, the whole night. He didn't call his wife. He didn't call even my brother. In the morning, he called one of our friends. He said, Pascal is in this health center. Yesterday night, I just found him. He was involved in an accident, car accident. What happened? You come. They went to that center. They didn't find even the man who called. They find my brother. The eyes were opened. The mouth, he couldn't speak. He couldn't even move.
He had died?
Yes. And that was it. So when they called us, they told us, what happened? So it seems like we also lost our minds. And so we were asking, what happened? They brought him to the hospital. They tried to do a surgery, and the brain came. It came, woof. So it was late, and he died like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes after, when now we wanted to leave, the wife said, no, you keep the children. Why? We didn't know that she was involved. Because when I'm talking now, she has a baby. From that man. So we didn't accept it. It took us time. 1 year.
And you know the point, Debbie, you are bringing up the point of denial. there's a grief recovery process. The first reaction generally
You
is
deny.
You
You
say it
deny.
can't have happened.
It can't,
And
yes.
then there's anger. You're
Yes.
angry at whoever might have
Yeah,
done it,
yeah.
angry at yourself because you feel you could have done something, and even angry at God. God, where were you at that time? Then there is bargaining. You bargain, you say, really? He died? And then what does it mean? You know,
You doubt.
and then finally there's acceptance. You know, you now accept that we need to move on. But what happens is that sometimes we are stuck at one of the stages, or we skip also because of society telling you, just move on, forget. We skip. And then when we get back, sometimes we regress, we get into depression. So it's important for one to even seek professional counseling therapy to assist us to go through the grief recovery process so that finally we get into the process of acceptance.
Yeah.
But I also think that we need to know that death is there.
Yes. It is.
At one time, we are going to die. At one time, a member of our family is going to die. So we need to have this as part of our knowledge that death is there and accept death at the back of our minds. And if I know that I'm going to die, I'm speaking to myself. I have children. I should not have secrets I should share. Communication within a family helps people to survive. I remember my father. He used to be sick, but not very sick. He's just, saying, I have headache. But for a long time, anytime we went home, he could say, for me, you people don't live here, but when I die, this is what I would like to happen. How much that helped us. He used to repeat it many times. So when he died, we did what he said, and we recovered.
Yes, so even writing a will.
Writing a will, having a will.
But in some cultures, the feeling is if you write a will, then it's a premonition. You are calling death.
But you see, as this is many societies are Christian societies, and we need to know that death is there. We are going to die. Let us have our will. Let us share with our children what we think. Be prepared. Know that we don't know when we are going to die, and talk with them and let them know what we think. It's not like sitting them down now. I'm dying. It's just like let them know what you are thinking.
I think just from what we've discussed, I've seen already some of the challenges that we have to deal with loss. First of all, there's that sometimes paralyzing emotional pain, especially when it's like you said, you had death in the family before, but it had never been this deep. And I think it was because of this was your brother. Maybe others had been more distant, but this is a close family member. But also the way that he died. And that's a very, very, very painful, I think. So you have to deal with the emotional pain. And sometimes that emotional pain can be paralyzing. Yes. We all have seen experiences where someone dies and it's almost like the one living has also died with the one who has passed on. But the other challenge that I've heard just from our discussion here, like when Rizpa was sharing about the zipper, is adjusting our daily lives. You find that life is different. And small things that you used to take for granted, all of a sudden your whole world is turned upside down because you find that you have to make changes to your daily lives. You have to learn how to zip up your own zipper. But that's just a small thing to the many, many adjustments that you find you have to make because this person is no longer
even washing a car if you have a car.
Yes. If your husband has always
even
done it.
Closing the doors and the windows.
Yes, at night.
Yes, my husband was admitted for almost a month in hospital. Had never known how to pay the electricity bill using is it called the postpaid? I'd never learned to close the doors and the windows. So for 2 nights we slept with the door open. And then the electricity is running out. I don't know what to do. So it was a moment for me because he had always been home. So when he came back, I said, okay, let me also teach my son to be able to do it. So for me, it was a moment, and when I was sharing with friends, they just couldn't understand. They wondered, really? You left the door open? Because I was just used to sleeping, and the door is closed by someone. Yeah.
So those adjustments. And the other thing that I've heard, is like when you have a case of a murder and of someone who should have been a friend, and the accomplice is your sister-in-law. You know, sometimes, you know, you said it took a whole year, you know, for your family to come to terms with it. And I don't know if your brother left children, they might still be coming to terms with it.
It took 1 year, especially for the youngest. 1 year, every week, you could find him in the hospital. 1 year. But praise the Lord now, yeah, we had to go through counseling and other, yeah.
And so maybe that speeded up the healing, the counseling, you know, like Rose was saying. But I think the other thing that can come out there is we begin to doubt our belief system. You know, your faith, you know, and especially when it's the how someone died. You know, because, you know, Rispa's right. Death is a reality. It's a part of but we expect we'll grow old, we'll die, or maybe you'll get sick and die, or, you know, the worst, you should have an accident and die. But you don't expect that. Someone who, you know, is supposed to be your closest, you know, who is supposed to protect you is the one who is going to lead to your death. You know, the way that, and that can make you doubt, and we've seen people struggle with faith. Where is God in the midst of this? And I think that also what Rose said was very important about we who may not be in the grieving experience right now, but are observing someone else, to be aware that people grieve differently. Because sometimes we want to put our own way of grieving on other people. You know, we tell them, do this, you know, or do that, or why aren't you doing this? And when someone is doubting, you know, and saying, you know, where was God in this? What's wrong with you? You know, you should have faith, and God is there, He's real. You're not praying, you're not... And yet, it's true, yes, God is there. It's true, everything that you're saying is well-intentioned. But maybe it's part of their grieving process that they have to go through this anger with God. You talked about being angry at other people, sometimes being angry with yourself, even if you are not the direct person who caused the death. It could be because, as Rizpa is saying, you have those regrets about, I wish when he was still alive, when my sister, in your case, was alive, why did I reprimand her so much? I would even beat her. You know, I was so hard on her. You become angry now at yourself. And then you get tired of being angry at yourself. You become angry with God. God, she was only 13 years old. You know, how could you allow something like this to happen? And maybe that's a process. And sometimes we push people so that they move through the process very quickly. I think I liked the suggestion about professional counseling, and I think sometimes it's becoming more common now, but I think sometimes even in the church, it's something that we don't tend to want to do, because especially when we're people of faith, we believe that you should pray all your problems away, you know, read the scriptures and you will be well. And I think that it would be good if that were the case. But sometimes I think people need professional help to deal with things.
So a support system is very important. And sometimes you don't even need to say a word. You just need to be there. Because sometimes the words can actually be counterproductive. You don't even need to hammer scripture. You just need to be there and let the person ventilate. My own sister lost her only son in a road accident. The husband had died in a road accident. The son had just completed university, and it was the day he was to travel so that she can share how the father died, because the father died when he was very young, and share maybe what was in the will. So she's waiting for him back at home in Kisii. He got knocked on Mombasa Road in a road accident. So anyway, fast forward, when we were grieving, you know, our pain was so much, we were just screaming. You can't even cry. We were just screaming out aloud, even during the funeral service. My sister appeared so strong. And she kept telling us, God is going to do a miracle. So as we are thinking, she's saying, God is going to do a miracle, you will be comforted. But as she's thinking, God can't allow the son to go, the only child, and the husband had also gone. So she was waiting for him to be resurrected. On the day of the burial, when the coffin is being lowered, she couldn't believe it. She lost it. And she said now she wants to die with him. She became suicidal. So she had not gone through the grief process because she couldn't believe it. So she had to completely relocate, go to work elsewhere and move and get rid of the property, you know, where she was living. So everything had to change. So I learned through that process that people grieve very differently, and it's very important to just be there and let people go through the process of grief. Yes, and as Josephine said, yes, sometimes if we say pray it away and read scripture, but then it's also good to appreciate that death is very devastating and it leaves somebody never the same again. We pray if it leaves a scar that when we remember, we don't remember with a lot of pain, it is good. But the process, we are not able to determine how long for different individuals.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We've come to the end of our program today, but I would just like you to maybe think of a last final word that you would like to give to someone who might be dealing with grief right now.
The promise that death will have no sting gives hope to all those who have lost loved ones. But my prayer is that we should be ministers to those who are alive, so that when they die in the hope.
Death is a reality for all of us. If you're out there and you're going through this experience of grief, I would like to ask that you don't walk alone. None of us should ever walk alone. Find somebody, find a close person you can share with your frustrations, your feelings, your anger. Find that safe space. And you know, sometimes when I think of Christ dying on the cross, I wonder how God was feeling watching his only begotten son dying. So please get somebody, talk to God. You can tell him everything without fear that he is going to judge you or reprimand you.
There is hope. Whatever will come in your life, you are not alone. God is always with you, and there is hope because you will see your beloved one. Yeah.
I don't think anyone can truly experience what you're going through right now. But the God who promised us that death will one day have no sting, I pray that that God and the Holy Spirit of peace will give you that encouragement that you need, so that even as you grieve, you don't grieve like he who has no hope. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, our audience, for having spent time with us today. Please remember to engage with our topic on Facebook, share your experiences, give your encouragement. God bless you.
You're watching Hope Channel Africa.
A study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that toddlers aged 12 months and older consumed a third of their daily calories from snacking between meals, with the snacks becoming less nutritious as the children got older. Dietary patterns low in fruits and veggies and high in sweets and saturated fats began to develop between the ages of 12 months and 24 months, and this pattern tended to be established by 24 months. That's a fact. But there's hope. Parents can establish the foundation for a healthy diet early in life when eating habits and preferences are being formed. Simple dietary changes, such as offering more nutritious snacks, can help prevent obesity and chronic disease in our children. So switch the gummy bear for blueberries and see them growing healthier and happier.
Imagine if 80% of the chronic diseases in the world were eradicated in the space of a few months, where people lived healthy, vital lives well into their 80s or 90s, where visits to the doctor Hello, I'm Dr. Nerida. Welcome to Go Healthy for Good. Every time we look at a magazine, we're bombarded with contradicting health information or another health fad that begs belief. So how do you tell what's fact and what's fiction? Well, for one thing, you can learn from the experiences of others, like Noel, who embarked on an Ornish reversal program at Beacon Health Systems. Watch.
I've been highly motivated all my life because my father died when he was 49 and I was 21. But then I had two 80% blockages, and I thought, well, why is this going on? Why do I have two 80% blockages when I've been doing everything that I thought that the society is telling me I'm supposed to be doing? So I learned that there is another giant step forward, moving from what I had been doing to the Dean Ornish program. The timing was perfect, that there was a class opening up just 2 weeks after I had my stint put in. So I was blessed to be able to join that class, and I've learned a whole lot more since then. Now I can exercise without any chest pain. And from the statistics and the studies they've done, I know that the blockage is not going to get any worse, and it's probably going to get better. And that's a real comfort to me, so I'm going to adhere to the program very, very strictly.
That's because it really works. Later in the show, we have a new recipe, a nutritional analysis with a difference, and a guest who is leading the charge to disseminate practical information about nutrition and lifestyle around the world. He'll be with us right after the news. In the headlines today, is saturated fat so bad? Omega-3s after heart attacks, and TV viewing linked to clots. An old study has just been published and raises new questions about the perils of saturated fat in the American diet. In 1968, 2,300 institutionalized patients were randomized to eat a diet that contained about 20% of calories from saturated fat, or a diet where the saturated fat was replaced by corn oil. Those on the corn oil diet had a drop in cholesterol levels, but a rise in the risk of death. Being an old study, it has a number of flaws. But before you use this old study as an excuse to eat as much cheese and ice cream as you want, why not get serious about living longer by eliminating all oils from your diet, regardless of their source, and opt for a plant-based, whole foods diet? Evidence, old and new, supports it. Omega-3s have shown significant benefits following a heart attack. 350 people from Boston, Massachusetts, who had had a recent heart attack took either a placebo or 4 grams of omega-3 fats for 6 months. They underwent an MRI scan of the heart at the beginning and end of the study. The hearts of those taking omega-3 fats showed less fibrosis, better function, and less harmful remodeling of the heart in response to the heart attack. There were also significant reductions in blood levels of inflammatory markers. So if you've had a recent heart attack, you might consider adding omega-3 fats to your diet. Avid TV viewers are at greater risk of death from pulmonary embolism. A recent Japanese study involving 86,000 people found that each additional 2 hours of TV viewing per day was linked to a 40% increase in death due to pulmonary embolism. Those watching more than 5 hours a day were more than twice as likely to die of a deep vein thrombosis or pulmonary embolus compared with those who watched less. Thromboses or clots are known to form in the veins of the legs and pelvis with prolonged inactivity. Pulmonary embolism occurs when pieces of those clots break off, travel through the heart and into the lungs where they halt circulation and can cause sudden death. So if you're sedentary, take action. Get up and move at least once each hour. I'm Dr. Nerida McKibben, and that's today's Health News. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Dr. David Katz, the founding director of Yale University's Yale Griffin Prevention Research Center. We met for our interview at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. I asked him to explain how someone like Noel can set about changing their medical destiny.
The crucial issue is to recognize how much power resides in our own hands. And it's overlooked, and it really is the mission of lifestyle medicine to fix that, because we tend to rely on drugs and surgery, and we tend to think if there's anything wrong with my health, I'm the patient, I need a doctor. Well, patient is the doctor, really, and the point is that modern medicine, it can be truly marvelous. I mean, the things that we can do are astounding. But all of that is devoted to fixing problems after they develop. Very little about modern medicine has anything to do with building vitality. Lifestyle can do that. And the three key components of lifestyle that have emerged in the research literature going back decades is our dietary pattern, our physical activity, and the avoidance of obvious toxins, in particular tobacco. So I refer to that as use of our feet, our forks, and our fingers, and convert that into the assertion that the master levers of medical destiny are our feet, our forks, and our fingers. And literally that. I mean, these are things that shape our destiny. If you practice healthy living throughout your life, the probability of living long, remaining vital, avoiding chronic disease soars. And nothing else in all of medicine can offer that. There is the potential to prevent fully 80% of all chronic disease by getting lifestyle right. Boy, that's leverage. And the other thing that lifestyle can do that we really haven't seen with anything in modern medicine is change the expression of our very genes. So, when we think about destiny, medicine and destiny, well, DNA. Well, the reality is DNA is not destiny. Dinner is destiny, because, the things we eat, the things we do, our lifestyle influences the behavior of our very genes. The master levers of medical destiny truly are in your hands, and that's a power I think we all want to put to good use.
Absolutely. Now, you've added another 3.
I have added another three to the list, and so I say, as the current president of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, that lifestyle medicine is a 6-cylinder engine. Feet, forks, fingers, sleep, stress, and love. And I use those 6 descriptors, and other people say different things. In the place of love, you could talk about social connections, and some people talk about purpose, but I think that's sort of love of self and love of life, and it's kind of subsumed within that. But basically, so, again, we've got physical activity, dietary pattern, avoiding toxins like tobacco, excessive alcohol. We really have abundant research indicating that the quality and quantity of sleep we get is integral to our health. Stress can undermine all the rest. If you're stressed out, you can't sleep, you eat all the wrong foods, you gain weight, you don't exercise, you have chronic pain, you're unhappy, your relationships start to fall apart. So managing stress is crucial. Mental health. Stress, I think, was sort of a doorway into that general realm of mental health, and so is love. We are social creatures. Biologically, as a species, we're social creatures. No man is an island, John Donne told us. Well, no man, no woman, no child. We need one another. And we thrive collectively. And so modern living with hectic schedules and a certain insularity that isolates us conspires against health really at its origins in our biological nature. We have to overcome that. And the cultures around the world that have the best health, the longest lives, the greatest vitality, have a strong sense of community. And I call it love, and all love is good love. It can be romantic love, it can be your significant other, it can be friends, but we need to be connected to other people. if you fire on all 6 cylinders. So, you know, you eat well, you're active, you don't smoke, you get enough sleep, you find a way to dissipate your stress, and you derive the strength of unity with other people that you care about and who care about you. After that, everything is vanishingly less important. You know, it's less important for longevity, vitality, but also the quality of every day. I mean, you think about, oh, I got those 6 right. It was a good day. It was a really good day, and you know, not much would make it any better. That really is where the action is.
And there'll be action in the kitchen right after the break. But first, this. I'm sorry, Daniel, but according to your results, you've got NDD.
NDD? Oh, nobody should have NDD. What's NDD?
Nature Deficit Disorder. It's what you get if you don't go outdoors as much as you should.
Oh, come on, doctor. I thought you were going to give me a real diagnosis.
It is a real diagnosis. I know that Richard Louv, journalist and author, coined the phrase, but we know that people who don't get outdoors enough are more likely to have physical, mental and emotional issues.
Okay, well, let's say that NDD is real. Can't you just give me a drug or a vitamin or a mineral for it?
I'm afraid there's only one cure. You need to go outdoors, walk through the forests, stroll by a stream, sit by a lake, listen to the bird song, just enjoy God's creation.
But doctor, it's dangerous out there. I might get eaten by an animal, or lightning might strike me, or I might get bitten by some bugs.
I doubt it. You're 500 times more likely to die of a heart attack than by the forces of nature.
Oh, so I guess it's good for me to get out in nature, and the exercise and the calming influence of nature will reduce my risk of getting a heart attack?
That's right, that's exactly right. But you know, the air is so fresh outdoors in the woods. It's full of negative ions, which is quite the opposite of indoor air.
But doctor, I like to be inside where it's climate controlled. If I go outside, I might get too cold or I might get too hot. I might even sweat. That would kill me for sure.
I don't think so. Children who don't get outdoors enough are more likely to have attention deficit disorder, ADD, or depression.
ADD on top of NDD? I might get the whole alphabet.
Well, we know people with nature deficit disorder are also more likely to have anxiety and obesity.
So doctor, what can you do for my NDD disease?
Go out into the woods, sit by a lake, enjoy the birdsong and the fresh air and the master designer's handiwork as much as you can, doctor's orders.
A recent study by the National Sleep Foundation found that playing video games, checking emails and text messages, or watching television at night may be depriving us from getting enough sleep. Nearly 95% of people questioned in the study said they use some type of electronics in the hour before going to bed, and about 2/3 admitted they do not get enough sleep during the week. Exposure to artificial light before going to bed can increase alertness and suppress the release of melatonin, a sleep-promoting hormone. That's a fact. But there's hope. You can make a big positive impact on sleep, mood, health, relationships, stress management, work productivity, and academic performance by making a small change in electronic use before bed. So, switch your device for a book at least a few evenings a week and have a better night's sleep.
Welcome back. Now, instead of just talking about nutrition, we're going to create some nutrition. And Phil's here to do that for us. What are you doing today?
Well, we are going to make some roasted tomatoes. And this is a recipe that I love. If you've got an abundance of tomatoes from your garden, this is a terrific thing to do with them. Or even, especially during the winter months, I like to look back on the summer and think about it. So it's a great way to kind of reminisce about summer and kind of get back to those summer flavors that you had.
Yes, because I guess roast tomatoes will keep longer than the fresh tomatoes, and they're all getting ripe at the same time in the summertime.
Absolutely.
So what goes in this?
So this is a simple recipe. It's a teaspoon of olive oil, 8 medium tomatoes, which we're going to cut in half, a teaspoon of fresh oregano, a teaspoon of fresh basil, 2 cloves garlic, finely chopped.
Oh, All right, so
So
how
it's
do we...
very simple. If you can start with the herbs, I'm going to get the tomatoes going. And all you need to do is just cut these tomatoes in half. We're going to use both halves, and we're going to put them place up on our parchment paper. Parchment paper is actually just a terrific thing to use. It'll keep your baking sheet a little bit cleaner and just makes it so much easier.
Oh,
less
doesn't
mess.
it? Yeah. Especially when you're doing your own food from scratch like this, you want to make it easier on yourself as much as possible. So I love the parchment paper because, you know, when you've done everything from scratch, then you can just turn around, you get it out of the oven, and you just throw the paper away. Wow.
It's so much easier. Now, I gave you the hard part of this job.
You did, didn't you?
This is so easy. What you're going to do is turn your oven on to 300, and then you put the tomatoes in here, and you're just going to like leave those in there for about an hour. So this is a recipe that you need time, but you don't need a whole lot of effort. So we'll put the tomatoes in the oven for an hour, and then after that hour, we're going to bring them out. We're going to combine our garlic, our oil, and our herbs. And then we're going to sprinkle those on top and put them back in the oven for another hour, hour and a half. You want to get them to kind of dry out. So you really want to get the edges browned, and you want to get the tomatoes themselves well roasted.
Nice. That sounds like you're going to fill the house with yummy smells of
Some
roasting
amazing
garlic and herbs.
Now you were telling me you've got a little trick when it comes to your garlic and oil and herbs. What do you do?
Well, you know, the herbs, you know, I'm preparing this. If I'm preparing this, you then wait for an hour to put it all together. Why not put your herbs and your garlic and a little oil on the top of the stove, you know, because it gets so hot when you've got the oven on. And then that's all sort of got an hour or so to marinate and gets quite infused.
An amazing idea when you told me about that. That sounds terrific, especially like the oven, at least ours, gets really hot. So it's a great way to get those flavors and all those kind of melding together. So after it's been in there another hour, hour and a half, it's ready.
Aha, so this is what it's going to look like.
This is our finished product right here. And now I have to know like what you think.
All right. Let's see. You know, what's this here on your crostini?
This is like an olive dip, which is very simple. You simply take olives, a can of olives, you mix it up, and you've got it.
So it's just a blender and a can of olives?
That's it.
Wow.
So you can spread that on top. It's a great way. We'll get our hands messy. It's a great way to add to it.
I love that garlic flavour on top of it. Tomatoes have become quite intense in their flavour, haven't they?
They have. And this to me is a really rich tomato flavor. So if you like tomatoes, this is a great recipe.
You could use this with pasta, soups, all kinds of things.
You could use it as a side if you like, if you want the whole tomato, or absolutely cut it up, and you can apply it to anything that you'd like a tomatoey taste in.
Fantastic. Thanks, Phil. Well, you're going to have to try this in the summer when you've got all those tomatoes that you need to use up, or any time in between. Looks like the makings of a fantastic tomato sauce. Now, remember Noel? Because his father died young, he was really careful about his health behaviours. At least that's what he thought until he got chest pain. And they found 80% blockages in his coronary arteries. So he joined the Ornish Reversal Program, where he learned that he could be doing a whole lot more to halt and reverse his disease. Check this out.
I've found getting used to the diet much, much easier than I had anticipated. I thought it was going to be moderately difficult, but that I could do it. But actually it's enjoyable. I like the food. Preparing it is a little bit of a challenge. I'm only in kindergarten as far as preparing the food, but I plan to move into first grade very soon, and I can do this. You know, I choose to do it, and I can do it. We went from being strangers in the group to really having a emotional connection with each other. One of the individuals, Dave, needed a heart transplant before he started the program, and 2 months into the program he didn't need a heart transplant. The difference between facing a heart transplant and not needing one is just unbelievable. And the empathy that the group felt and the accomplishment that he had achieved by changing his diet and his other factors, we just all felt, wow, this is incredible. My motivation is because I love being with my grandchildren, and I love being with my children, and I love being with my wife, my family, and I'd like to be around to support them and be with them for as long as possible. There's no question in my mind that the Ornish program is a giant step toward extending my life. I've said before that, we all want to go to heaven, but I don't want to go tomorrow.
But that food looks quite heavenly. And today's guest is the co-author of Disease Proof, The Remarkable Truth About What Makes You Well. In it, Dr. David Katz says the master levers of medical destiny are summed up as fingers, feet, and forks. In other words, smoking, physical activity, and diet. And unfortunately, we're doing better with smoking than with diet and exercise. Here's why from Dr. Katz.
So the reason we're doing well with fingers, so less smoking, and well is relative, right? I mean, to be quite blunt, I think smoking, tobacco, should be utterly banished to the dustbin of truly egregious ideas, right? I mean, it was just a horrible historical boondoggle. I mean, if we were to tally up the total human cost of tobacco, it would be appalling. It would rival the world wars. And I mean, the number of years lost from lives and life lost from years just because of this one pernicious scourge. It needs to be exiled from the planet altogether. So,
and you're right. I guess we're not doing that well because 1 in 5 people
yeah,
still
exactly.
smoke.
So a massive reduction in smoking in the U.S., but 20% of people still smoke here, and it's much worse in other parts of the world. And the tobacco companies that can't sell their products here are marketing them aggressively all around the world. So globally, it's a huge problem. So we've got miles to go. I mean, even that one we haven't put to rest. But part of the reason that we've done fairly well with tobacco is because, first, it's very simple. Smoke, don't smoke. I mean, there's no subtlety there. And smoking is bad and not smoking is better, and everybody knows it, and the arguments against that have all dried up and blown away. So, there's no cover anymore. Right. And we don't need it. You can decide, to avoid tobacco entirely. You can't do that with food.
No, you can't.
Right? I mean,
That's
food
right.
is subtle.
Yes.
And then once we rallied around the notion that tobacco was just a horrendous idea, we mobilized all sorts of resources against it. So public education, but also policy, taxation. I mean, all the different ways we could discourage people from smoking. And
we learned a lot from that, I think.
We did. And now it's time to start thinking about applying that to big soda. A lot of people in public health talk about the big soda companies as the new tobacco. So, why are we not doing as well with our feet and our forks? Well, for one thing, physical activity requires an active effort. Not smoking is simply avoiding a toxin. Physical activity is something you have to add to your day. So I think the behavior change elements for physical activity are more nuanced, a little more challenging for the individual. And then before getting into diet, just to lump the two, so why are both feet and forks challenging? We, to my knowledge, have no intrinsic, innate, biological craving for tobacco. But we do have an innate, species-wide, intrinsic, biological affinity for eating food when it's available and avoiding activity when we can. You think about most of human history. It was a struggle to survive. We had to work really hard to get our food. Calories were relatively scarce and hard to get. Physical activity was unavoidable. In that native context, individuals whose genetic programming favored eat tasty food when you can find it and rest when you can because you don't want to burn more calories than you're able to take in, well, those are the people that would have survived to make babies and pass on the very genes that made them act that way in the first place. So here we are. So all of a sudden, the genes that favored survival throughout all of history have turned against us, or rather, we've turned against them. We've created an environment where physical activity is scarce and hard to get, and that propensity to seek the couch makes us sick. And we've created an environment where highly processed, hyper-palatable foods that glow in the dark abound everywhere we go, and that tendency to eat tasty food when we can find it causes us to get fat and sick.
Because we can find it all day long.
We can find it all day long everywhere we go. And it's willfully engineered to maximize our eating. I mean, that's a modern-day scandal. It's a story that's been told many times, but recently, and perhaps best by Michael Moss, who's a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist, has written a great book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, and a wonderful New York Times Magazine cover story entitled The Extraordinary Science of Addictive Junk Food, and explains how the big food companies have teams of PhDs and high-tech toys like functional MRI, and the marching orders design food people can't stop eating. So that's what we're up against. So this native tendency to want to eat food when we can, this native tendency to want to rest when we can, and then a modern culture that makes physical inactivity the prevailing norm, constantly accessible, and engineered foods that maximally stimulate our appetite center, constantly available. Well, that's a formula for the very things we have, epidemic, obesity, and chronic disease. Really hard to fix. We struggle, I think, to address the issue of food in particular, because the best we'll ever achieve is ambivalence. I mean, we're never going to say food is bad like we were able to do with tobacco. Well, some food is bad and some food is good. Food can make us sick, but food can make us healthy. There's a whole array of subtle choices involved, right? So the simple dichotomy of the tobacco variable, yes, no, here, gone, that doesn't pertain to physical activity, and it certainly doesn't pertain to diet. So it's a more challenging area.
So before we go to break, here's another area that can be challenging. The longest living cultures around the world have a strong sense of community where seniors are valued and honoured. People there find a sense of belonging and purpose. Basically, it's where people are loved, and love promotes good health because of what it does to our bodies. And by love, I mean a genuine caring for others, because he uses the word 40 times in his Gospel and 26 times in that tiny book of 1 John. He says there that God is love. Not that God is loving, but that God is love, the source of love. So when we are loving, it means that God is at work in us. So if you have a need for nurture, consider finding a loving faith community in your neighbourhood.
The American Heart Association has identified sugar-sweetened beverages, or SSB, as the primary source of added sugars in the American diet, contributing to the pandemic of obesity in our country. SSBs are also linked to insulin resistance, impaired B-cell function, and belly fat, precursors to metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. In addition, recent studies have found that these beverages increase inflammation, which contributes to arteriosclerosis, plaque stability, thrombosis, and risk for heart attack and stroke. That's a fact. But there's hope. God gave us a perfect beverage that does not promote weight gain or chronic disease: water. It has no calories or additives and is widely available, inexpensive, and generally safe. So, do your health a favor. Go pour yourself a tall glass of God's perfect beverage.
Welcome back. What's the difference between saturated fats and other fats? Well, saturated fats are solid at room temperature, like this butter, or lard, or even the fat that you see on a steak after it gets left out of the fridge overnight after it was cooked. Unsaturated fats, on the other hand, are liquid at room temperature. Typically we call them oils. And the unsaturated fats are divided into monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. But what does the term saturated and unsaturated actually mean? Well, we need to take a look at the molecular composition of a fatty acid chain. And we've used little lines here to represent our chain of carbon molecules. And the chains are a lot longer than what we've got here. Now, if these carbon molecules have a single bond between them, that means there's space now to put hydrogen to each side of them. And we call this saturated because it's saturated with hydrogen. That is a typical structure of a saturated fat. Now, if there are double bonds between all of those carbons, then we call that unsaturated or monounsaturated. Now, if there's a carbon chain where some are double bonds and some are single bonds, then that is called a polyunsaturated. And it depends on where in the carbon chain as to how we call it. So this one is number 3, so that is an omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acid. If it has a double bond at number 6, that's an omega-6 polyunsaturated, and so on. Now, when we learned that butter wasn't so good for us, what they tried to do was increase the melting point of vegetable oil to make it solid at room temperature, and they called that margarine. So what they do is they take these extra hydrogen molecules and they force them on board where we have these double bonds, where there's a little extra space for sticking these hydrogens in. Now those fats are man-made and we call them hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. Another term is trans fats. They are particularly lethal and you want to stay away from them. Now most plant sources of fat are composed of a combination of all of these. Well, even in meat. But for example, the fat in an avocado is 71% mono, 13% poly, and 16% saturated. Olive oil, 77% mono, 9% poly, and 14% saturated. Vegetable oils like this are 20% mono, 69% poly, and 11% saturated. Flaxseed oil or linseed oil is 15% mono, 80% polyunsaturated, of which, but 64% omega-3, so it's a combination of them, and 7% saturated. Now, plant fats that are atypical, they stand out from the rest, are high in saturated fats, and they should be used with caution. And those are palm oil and coconut oil. Now, palm oil is 40% mono, 10% poly, and 50% saturated. And that's used a lot to bake cookies and cakes, and it often is fractionated or hydrogenated. So, not good for our health. Coconut oil is only 6% mono, 2% poly, and 92% saturated. And because of this, regular consumption of coconut oil is advised against by the WHO, the FDA, the DHSS, the American Dietetic Association, the American Heart Association, the NHS in Britain, and Dietitians of Canada. So, what's its effect on cholesterol? I'm afraid it puts it up, though it's not quite as harmful as butter. But I think I'll go steady with palm oil and coconut oil. How about you?
What could you do with an extra 5 years? Earn a degree, visit the 7 modern wonders of the world, or kiss your great-grandchild's cheek. You can do a lot in 5 years. 5 years is the difference that researchers found in the life expectancy between vegetarian and non-vegetarian Adventists. The Adventist Health Study found that vegetarians lived 5 years longer than their non-vegetarian counterparts. Adopting a vegetarian diet could add 5 years to your life and is another ageless advantage.
Now for the questions you've sent in for me to answer. Our first question, I'm having problems with postmenopausal weight gain. What should I do? Well, what you can do if you're just working with this yourself rather than going to a professional is keep a log of everything you eat and drink for 3 days and then kind of stand back and look at where most of your calories are coming from. Is it coming in your drinks? Is it coming from snacks? Or are you eating really sensible foods but just maybe too much of them? So try and adjust how many calories you're eating down, and remember fatty foods contain twice as many as other foods. Buy a pedometer, wear it for a week, just see how many steps you're getting most days, then increase it by 10% each week until you get up to 10,000 steps a day. Next question. Sylvia asks, what kind of water is good to drink? I've heard of alkaline water. Do you recommend it? Well, the best water, I think, is filtered tap water. It's clean, contains minerals, it's affordable, and it doesn't add plastic or glass to the problem that this planet already has. Plus, the body controls pH, or that acid-alkaline balance, very tightly. So what we put in our bodies really doesn't change it appreciably. Final question. Jim asks, does the body absorb supplemental vitamins such as vitamin D? Well, there's a myth out there that tablets don't dissolve and so they're not absorbed. But that's not true for the most part. Even though their carrier might stick around and it looks like they've gone all the way through, and I'm not saying that never happens, usually the active ingredient is absorbed. But if you are worried about it, then you might choose to use chewable tablets. Thanks for those questions. Remember to like us on Facebook so you can enjoy more tips and videos. Now it's time to head down to the supermarket. Quinoa originated in the Andean region of South America, where it was domesticated 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. The Incas held the crop to be sacred, calling it the mother of all grains. However, during the Spanish conquest of South America, quinoa was scorned by the Spanish colonists as food for Indians, and cultivation was actually forbidden. Instead, the Incas were forced to grow wheat. It's not a true grain because it's not a member of the grass family, but it's a grain crop with edible seeds that come as white, red, or in this case, black, depending on the cultivar. It's become popular in the US, Europe, China, and Japan, where it's not usually grown, and that's caused crop prices to triple, making it now 10 to 20 times more expensive than wheat. There are a number of reasons for its continued popularity. One, it's easy to digest, it has a high protein content, and it's a complete protein. It contains lots of fibre, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, and calcium. In fact, it's so good that NASA's exploring quinoa as a potential crop for long-duration human-occupied space flights. My use of quinoa is much more down to earth. I boil 2 cups of water with 1 cup of grain for 15 minutes. And when it cools, I fluff it with a fork and serve it with a stir fry or in a salad. You can also germinate it and add the sprouts for an added value. Bon appetit! In the 21st century, we know so much about so much. Yet there's a lot of confusion about what we should and shouldn't be eating. Here's Dr. David Katz from Yale University's Prevention Research Center to tell us why confusion exists.
You know, what I think we need to acknowledge is that confusion is profitable. I often compare our pop culture debates about diet to the weather. It's amazing how successful you can be as a so-called weatherman, a meteorologist, right? I mean, a lot of celebrity meteorologists. Why? Well, because the weather is a constant influence on our lives. It's intimate, it affects the quality of our day, what we have to wear, and it changes all the time. So tune in tomorrow to find out about the next weather, and how big will the storm be, and how much will it rain, and will it be sunny, and how much snow will we get, and constant fascination. And very profitable. I presume the celebrity meteorologists make lots of money, and the shows that feature them make money because we tune in to find out. We want to know. Well,
so they always save it till last.
And they save it till last. They tease it, and yes. But and it repeats throughout. I mean, we're always fascinated because it's part of our day, every day. So is food. So there is tremendous advantage for the selling side of this, the supply side, for there to be constant confusion about the basic care and feeding of Homo sapiens. If we don't know what the best diet is, we tune in tomorrow to find out about the new one. If we don't know the best way to eat, we buy the new fad diet book. So who wins here? Well, superficially, the winners are big media, big publishing, big food, which can sell us anything, the weight loss industry. And then we can take it one step further, and this is where things really get alarming to me. What about big pharma? Well, if we are honest about the state of modern culture, where we tell ourselves all the time America runs on Dunkin', and where we literally market multicolored marshmallows to children as part of a complete breakfast. So and I don't see the righteous indignation. I don't see the outrage among a nation of parents and grandparents. Wait a minute, you're aggressively marketing to the children I love foods that will make them fat and sick, which we are. I mean, hypocrisy, right? We wring our hands about the rising rates of type 2 diabetes in kids, but we tolerate whole industries that profit from that very outcome. So, I get really alarmed when I think, gee, is there some sort of grand conspiracy here where big food, sort of says to big pharma, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, we'll sell the foods and profit from them that make them sick, and then you can sell the drugs to treat the sickness that the food created, as opposed to selling food that makes people healthy in the first place. And then we win, and big food can do fine because they can shift their product portfolios to better stuff, and big pharma will have to figure out how to invest in wellness programming because fewer people are going to need drugs. But that's the future we deserve. So we are not confused. That's the bottom line here. Low fat, low carb, saturated fat. The simple reality about diet is that it's been clear for decades. It's clear all around the world. Michael Pollan nailed it in an essay 8 years ago. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. It's spot on correct. We just got the 572-page report of the 2015 Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee in the U.S. some months back. And the executive summary features a paragraph that basically reiterates Michael Pollan. So eat a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds, with or without lesser amounts of everything else. Some lean meat, okay. Avoid processed meat, which we recently were told is a carcinogen. You want to include dairy, do. If you want to exclude dairy, do. If you want to eat eggs, fine. If you don't want to eat eggs, don't. If you want to eat fish, they're good for you. If you want to be a vegan, that's also fine. So variations on the theme of wholesome foods, sensible combinations, mostly plants. And if you get that right, the nutrients take care of themselves. Is that low fat or high fat? Well, yes. It can be a low fat vegan diet and it'll be fine. It can be a high fat Mediterranean diet. It'll also be fine. It's a silly question. It's time to move past nutrients, focus on foods. The nutrients sort themselves out. With regard to saturated fat, it's a confabulated debate. Essentially what the literature shows is if you vary saturated fat intake a bit, your heart disease rates may not vary at all. Why? Because there's more than one way to eat badly. If you eat less saturated fat and eat Snackwell cookies instead, you don't get healthier. Duh, right? When the studies look at, well, what was saturated fat replaced with, we find exactly what sense would predict. If people replace saturated fat coming from pepperoni pizza with stuff that's just as bad, low-fat junk food that's high in refined starch and added sugar, they're comparably sick both times. If, however, you cut back on sources of saturated fat, meat, butter, and cheese, and you eat more whole grains, your health markedly improves. If you replace saturated fat with unsaturated fat from nuts, seeds, avocado, olives, fish, seafood, health markedly improves. In other words, eat healthy foods, health markedly improves. Where's the confusion? It's pseudo-confusion.
Now, the saturated fat study that came out in 2014, that the media took hold of that data, and suddenly we saw eat butter over all of the front pages.
Yeah,
and that's...
Butter wasn't mentioned in the study, by the way, and neither did the word sugar appear. So here's a big part of our problem. Now, before I say anything about that specific study, the way our culture rolls is we get our information in a column by a blogger who read a column by a blogger who read an article by somebody who read a blog by a blogger who also never read the study and wasn't qualified to interpret it if they had. The journalistic standards in the age of cyberspace have disappeared. It's appalling. So there's just this massive echo chamber effect. It's basically echoes of nincompoopery. You go all the way back to bedrock, and the first person opining about the study had no credentials and didn't read the meta-analysis. I read the meta-analysis. I'm trained to understand meta-analysis. I've done meta-analyses. Essentially, that study said nothing remotely like what the headline said. It certainly didn't say saturated fat was good for us. It didn't say anything specifically about butter. And really all that it demonstrated was that with slight variation in saturated fat intake, there was no variation in heart disease rates. So one way to interpret that study, very much against the butter is back mantra, is that saturated fat is exactly as bad for us as sugar, because the high sugar diets that replaced the high sat fat diets didn't make things any worse. They just kept them comparably bad. Sat fat is as bad as sugar, which is the new age villain. And the reality is that, if you want better health, you need to eat better foods. And, is it okay to have some butter in the mix there? If it's important to you, sure. But Butter's not going to make you healthy. Broccoli will make you healthy. Beans will make you healthy. I mean, it's the usual suspects.
Broccoli and beans, I love it. Coming straight ahead, more from Dr. Katz, so don't go away.
Ever wish you didn't have to fold laundry, mow the lawn, or take out the trash? A study published recently in the Archives of Internal Medicine found that seniors who expended the most energy on daily duties were less likely to have mental declines as they aged. Participants in the most active group were 91% less likely to experience declines in memory, concentration, and language abilities after 5 years than those in the least active group. And that's a fact. But there's hope. While a regular exercise program is an important part of a healthy lifestyle, don't overlook physical activity throughout the day. The seniors in the most active group burned most of their calories in activities of daily living, reporting doing more walking, climbing more stairs, engaging in more caregiving and volunteering, and just moving more overall. Although not typically thought of as exercise, these physical activities get our heart rate up and improve circulation while also protecting brain function.
And we're back. I want to show you a system that cuts through the nutrition confusion. It was designed by a scientific working group brought together by today's guest, Dr. David Katz. It's called NuVal, which is short for nutrient value, and it grades thousands of supermarket foods on a scale of 1 to 100. And that enables you to make healthy choices quickly and accurately. Watch.
We implemented the NuVal food scoring system in 8 Coburn's locations around the greater St. Cloud area about 18 months ago. Based on the success that we saw in the grocery store, we thought it would be a great partnership to do in the school. That way the students would be carrying home the same message that the parents are seeing in the grocery store. So maybe if a parent didn't know about it, the student could come home, they're grocery shopping, and say, hey, I know what that number means.
I think NuVal has been somewhat vogue. Students are looking at the score and talking to their peers about the items that they're consuming. I think it is something that is influencing decisions that are made at the home and collectively as kids and parents are going to the grocery stores. It's a common language. It's a community unifier, and it's a very exciting initiative to be a part of.
I think it's really great that the school cares so much about the students. I think a lot of times we forget about our bodies. It's their job to educate our minds, but the body's the vessel for the mind, and I think that's a really important part of life and education as well. The kickoff event was pretty fun, actually. I'm a member of student council. We all got these big free t-shirts, which was pretty fun. And we waited by the door, and so when people came in, everyone cheered and gave them apples and stickers, just kind of to let them know that NuVal was here. And then one of our members, Ryan, dressed in the Cohorn's cow suit and kind of danced around.
As a wrestler, I need to know what's healthy for me and what's not healthy, because sometimes I need to lose weight or sometimes I need to gain weight just for different weight classes. So it just helps me like choose what I need for lunch and stuff like that.
It definitely has changed like the way I eat on my breaks at work.
If you simply have a number to look at, from 0 to 100, it's easier for you to figure out, well, this is healthier than this.
I think NuVal helps to empower our children to make educated choices by making it simpler for them to look at the nutrition quality of a food by looking at that one number.
Having Centricare, the healthcare arm involved with this and their entity Blend, really helps to bring some credibility to NuVal from the medical community. And now with the school systems involved and the education system involved, we've got this kind of tripod effect of the local grocer, the local healthcare provider, and the education system all getting behind one thing, NuVal, that can help people make better, more nutritious decisions in what they're eating.
Which is great, because if you believe everything you read about what constitutes the best diet, you might wonder if anyone actually knows. Well, here's Dr. David Katz, author of Disease Proof on the Optimal Diet for Humans.
I don't think we are even remotely confused about the basic care and feeding of Homo sapiens. And I think it would be bizarre if we were. I mean, you go to a zoo, we know how to feed every other species. How could we possibly not have a clue about how to feed ourselves? It's just silly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just silly. So, we know a lot. We know a lot from good research, and we know a lot from real-world observation, like the blue zones. You look at what people who live the longest and have the best health are doing. And, they vary widely, but they all eat wholesome foods and sensible combinations, mostly plants, is just not a big mystery.
Very strong overlap on all of them then.
Absolutely. And yet, I think also the variation is delightful, because what it says is there isn't a single narrow prescriptive diet you have to eat. You're the boss. Pick any variant on the theme that works for you and your family and your culture, and love the food that loves you back. But just be on the theme. Be on the theme, because it leads to the prize. More years in life, more life in years. So we're not confused. And you know, again, it's just big industries profit from the pseudo-confusion. So the question then is, well, how do we fix the pseudo-confusion? I've done what I can the entire span of my career to try and help individuals with that. Talking to audiences, treating patients, and then writing stuff for the general public, both
and
my
I
columns.
really appreciate what you do. I think it's very powerful, and you're tweeting it, you're getting it out on social media, and you're
Thank
doing
you.
all the things that we're all, in all the places that people need to see
Thank
it. So
you.
thank you.
Thanks. And most of it is just freely available to all. Every now and then
Which
you
I
get,
really appreciate.
Thank you. And I think it's the way it ought to be. Every now and then, though, you have to sell something.
Oh,
I
yes.
got kids to put through college,
Yes, you
so,
do.
so I write books too, and those
Yes.
you have to buy. So my latest book, Disease Proof, is about this. And essentially what's novel about the book is it's all about skill power. You know, the idea that, okay, yeah, you need willpower to be healthy, but everybody wants to be healthy. What's really missing is skill power. If I can be healthy in spite of it all, you know, if I can be really fit and have perfect lipids as a 52-year-old guy with 5 kids and a desk job, you know, it's not because of my remarkable willpower. It's because I got skills. I'm a preventive medicine specialist. I know how to do this. So I put all my skills in the book to pay them forward. But there is a, if you will, bigger fish to fry.
And I really like how practical your book is.
Thank you.
It
and
really
not controversial. You know, it
No.
says, you know, it's not my place to reinvent what a healthy diet is. That's established. That's evidence-based. Nobody gets to reinvent that. The challenge is, how do you get there from here, right? And the same with exercise and sleep and stress and so forth. Thank you. But there's a bigger mission. And the bigger mission is, you know, how do we convince the public that we're not confused? How do we usher in the day in America and other countries like us around the world where you cannot sell the next fad diet book because everybody rolls their eyes and just refuses to buy it?
Oh, we've heard that one before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be when I grow up. And leveraging my position in the College of Lifestyle Medicine, I've been privileged to found a new initiative that I think will really define the culminating period of my career, and we call this the True Health Initiative. And essentially, we established a set of principles about healthy living and healthy diet that are fairly explicit, and said, join us if you agree we're not confused. Join us if you agree that these are the fundamentals of healthy living that the public needs to know about. And join us if you agree that we agree. In other words, the public hears, well, there's vegan, there's paleo, these guys hate one another, they go to opposite sides of a room and hurl insults at one another. Well, yeah, to some extent that's true, but if you have lunch with both of these groups, their plates are more alike than different. The vegans are eating a wide variety of plant foods and nothing else, and they're getting their protein from beans and lentils. And the paleo folks have the same variety of plant foods and a little bit of lean meat, but nobody's eating anything that glows in the dark. No self-respecting nutrition expert eats multicolored marshmallows for breakfast. So there's massive agreement. The public has no clue. So I've reached out, you know, after 25 years of building relationships around the world, reached out to my colleagues and the most illustrious people in public health, preventive medicine, nutrition, and said, will you join your voices together with mine and with everybody else here, just like the Who's did when Horton heard the Who's, you know, but we don't want to say we are here, we want to say we agree. Can we come together to tell the public there is a massive global consensus among experts about the fundamentals, time-honored fundamentals of healthy eating? And the answer has been an incredibly gratifying yes. At this point, the True Health Coalition is over 250 unbelievable experts from 30 countries, and that's accessible for everyone to see at truehealthinitiative.org. And essentially, we want to be a signal so clear and piercing about the actionable truths about healthy eating, healthy living, that we rise above the din and the discord and the noise and the static in our culture. No one voice can do that. I think collectively, if we pull together the world's experts, we can do that. We will do that. And once we know where there is, and the public knows that we know where there is, then we can get there from here.
Excellent. So you meet big industry by creating your own non-profit industry that can herald the call.
What I compare it to briefly is the moon. We put footprints on the moon. We put a flag on the moon. And we got to the moon for 3 reasons. We wanted to go. Well, we also want to be healthy. We are an ingenious, resourceful, indefatigable species. Well, that's still true. And we knew where to find it. Well, you know, the first 2 we have for getting to health. It's the third that's the problem. We keep debating where is there. What is a healthy diet? What is healthy living? Well, the reality is the world's experts agree where there is. The problem is that the public doesn't know that we know where there is. The public doesn't know that we know what we know. There is a massive evidence-based, consensus-based agreement about fundamentals of healthy living that's invisible to the public. I think if we disclose that, everybody can say, okay, so we want more years in life, more life in years, and we want to be able to bequeath that to our children. We're ingenious and resourceful about getting there from here, and holy moly, we do know where there is. Well, that's a new day. That's a new day. And frankly, it is not more difficult than getting to the moon. We just need to acknowledge the clarity about where there is, and then we can get there from here. And with the launch of the True Health Initiative, that era has begun.
While modern medicine is pretty amazing, we have to remember it's devoted to fixing problems, whereas the power to build vitality lies with you. Fingers, feet, forks, sleep, stress, and love. So if you smoke, stop. Move 30 minutes every day, 10 minutes at a time if necessary. When it comes to food, Michael Pollan nailed it. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Sleep 7 to 9 hours every night. Use exercise and meditation to manage stress and nurture important relationships every day. That's all from me today. Thanks for joining us on Go Healthy for Good. I'll see you next time.